Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's a real pleasure to be standing up here. I'm going to tell a little story for some of you who may have heard it before, just to get started off. I've sat where you've sat for a long time over my 25-year career, and I've always wondered what it would be like to host a great event like this, and it really is a great event. I was sitting in the kitchen with my wife a few weeks ago and talking about what was coming. And it was going to be this big banquet, and I tried to talk her into come, but she just couldn't make it. And I was going, I can't believe I'm going to be the guy up there kind of leading the ceremony. It's going to be a lot of fun. Did you ever in your wildest dreams think that I would be doing that and president of the Airline Pilots Association? She looked me right in the eye and said, you have never been in my wildest dreams. So I went right back to the computer, started typing. It's amazing how they can put us in our place, right? So good evening, and a special thanks to the communications department for that wonderful production. For some of you, it's the second time you've seen it. I could watch it 50 times because it reminds me how great this organization is. Since the Airline Pilots Association in creation in 1931, our organization has established itself as the largest and best non-governmental aviation safety organization in the world. This achievement did not occur overnight. It took decades to accomplish this feat, decades. It's the direct result of thousands of dedicated pilot representatives, supported by hundreds of dedicated professionals on the ALPA's full-time staff, all applying their skills, expertise, and extensive knowledge to advance aviation safety and security. These individuals dedicated their professional lives to finding efficiency and productivity, developing new technologies, all the while reducing, or eliminating operational threats. We have with us again this year a member of the former ALPA Air Safety. We have with us again this year members of a number of former ALPA Safety and Aviation Security Award-winning recipients. These individuals set the standard of professionalism for what they've given to their fellow airmen, their industry, and their profession. Join me in thanking them as I ask them to stand, and please remain standing until I've called all the names and to be recognized. I'll call each name and the year of his or her award, and I'd ask you to hold your applause. I mean it this time. Hold your applause. I know you never did it for anyone else, but I'd like to be different. Hold your applause to the end. Yeah, okay. Never mind. Yeah, thanks, Rich. I appreciate that. So please stand as I call your name and remain standing. These are the former Aviation Security Award winners. Captain Everett Reese, 2011. Captain Wolfgang Koch, 2012. And Captain Robert Hamilton, 2013. The former Air Safety Award winners. Captain Bill Melvin, 1977. Captain David Haas, 1988. Captain Dick Russell, 1989. Captain Tom Creamer, 1994. Captain Richard Duxbury, 1995. Captain Lindsay Finnick, 2005. Captain Terry McVenis, 2007. Captain David Wells, 2008. Captain Ray Genola, 2009. Captain Bill DeGo, 2011. First Officer Mark Rogers, 2012. And this last name is special because he was unable to be with us last year for this award. So a special, super welcome to Captain Michael Bender, 2013. These individuals remind us that we have challenges to fulfill, and with them, a tremendous reputation to uphold. Tonight, we'll add several additional ALPA pilots to that distinguished ranking, bestowing on them the highest honors the association grants. Their leadership, spirit of engagement, and numerous accomplishments.
Sir, you forgot Jack Howell.
Oh, who did I forget?
Jack Howell.
Jack Howell. I didn't know he was in the house. Jack Howell, please stand up. So, Jack, the staff is panicked right now, okay? Absolutely panicked. And they should be. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. My apologies, sir. Please accept my apologies. And thanks for joining us. Thank you very much. And then they'll point out that you were on the list and I missed it, and then I'll look embarrassed in front of them. So that's how it works. Their leadership, their spirit of engagement, and numerous accomplishments further advancing the piloting profession. In particular, we will recognize 2 pilots for their quick thinking, professionalism, and skill attributes that allow them to exercise feats of superior airmanship to avert a potential disaster. These honorees and the dedication and commitment they have demonstrated are a testament to ALPA's role as safety and security advocates. I want to acknowledge the efforts of all of ALPA's more than 52,000 members who keep North America flying. These men and women who commit themselves daily to ensuring that our 2 countries' national air transportation systems serve as the global safety and security standard. In the last 2 days, in panels, discussions, and through other presentations, we've talked about a flight plan for safe and fair skies. Tonight, we'll pay tribute to ALPA pilots who, through their individual and collective efforts, have helped ensure that North America aviation maintains the highest level of safety and security. The pilots selected for these awards presented this evening, as well as those whom we previously honored this week, uphold ALPA's proud tradition of leadership and service to their fellow pilots and the public. We acknowledge their skills, expertise, and pivotal decision-making, which have served the greater aviation community. Thank you for joining us here tonight as we salute them. So we have many honored guests with us tonight, and time will not permit me to introduce all of them, but I'd like to identify for those who are seated at the head table. So I'll go around the head table. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Executive Director of the Directors General, Transport Canada, Ms. Lucille Camille. Thank you, Lucille, for joining us. President of Airbus Americas, Mr. Barry Eccleston. Barry, thank you for joining us. President of ALPA Japan, Captain Hiroki Totano. Thank you, John. Director General, Civil Aviation Transport Canada, Mr. Denis Guindos. Director of System Safety and Regulatory Affairs, Boeing, Captain Terry McVenis. Technical and Foreign Affairs Secretary, ASPA de Mexico, and I call him Paco, but I'll try the real name. Here we go. Captain Francisco Gomez Ortizga. National President of the Union of Coalition Transport Employees, Ms. Christine Collins. Thank you, Christine, for coming. And the General Manager of the Airline Pilots Association, Ms. Lori Garver. Thanks, Lori, for joining us. Last but not least, I'd like to recognize an ALPA longtime friend, Secretary Norm Mineta. Mr. Secretary, welcome, and thank you all for joining us this evening. We look forward to continuing the partnership and collaborations of each of you and your organization. Thank you, Mr. Mineta, for coming. Thank you very much. While my spouse didn't make it here tonight, I would like to recognize all the spouses and significant others and other family members whose support enables our ALPA volunteers and pilot representatives to continue the important work on our behalf. You are all vital members of the ALPA team, and we appreciate you sharing this special celebration with us tonight. So I've already screwed up a couple times, and it's no surprise to anybody that this is my first time hosting the Air Safety Forum as president, although I've participated in many. But it wasn't until I was responsible for hosting this event that I saw the depth and importance of it, and that I witnessed the amount of work and detail that goes into the planning and of the detail and the organization of this event. Every aspect of our association is involved, from communications to legal to finance to purchasing to government affairs to the general manager and, of course, the ASO and the engineering and air safety departments. ALPA and the Air Safety Organization would not have established this tremendous reputation they have today without the work of the association's professional staff. These individuals apply their extensive knowledge and expertise and experience to advance our mission of aviation safety and security every day. They work closely with our pilot representatives and our many industry and government partners and are a great asset to the organization. I'd like to take a minute to recognize three of them. As many of you know, Rick Kessel, Jan Steenbeck, and Chris Baum have announced their retirement. Rick at the end of this month, Jan on September 4th, and Chris at the end of the year. When they joined the association, they brought with them tremendous knowledge, experience, and expertise. Rick, will you please stand? I know you're around here. So Rick served as a real pilot in the United States Navy before joining ALPA 30 years ago. Just laying it out as I know it. Rick worked on issues such as, Rick, get back on your feet, please, sir. Rick worked on issues such as hazardous material and airport standards. He also helped develop and coordinate all of our training programs for our safety, security, and pilots assistance representatives. The ASO community formally recognized Rick earlier this week at a separate ceremony, but please join me in a round of applause for Mr. Rick Kessel. Jan, will you please join me up on stage? So Jan is also a pilot of the GA variety and serves as the technical editor for the Airline Pilot magazine. He started working at ALPA in December of 1990. I think it was like my 10th birthday. 1980. He takes great pride in, what's a decade, right? He takes great pride in providing coverage of this year's event year after year. And he says he's only missed one forum in that long time, and that was in 1996, is what I've been told when he went. And it's not because he went on vacation. He had the chicken pox, of all things, 1996. Yeah. If you know Jan, and many of us in this room do, you know he always has a story to tell, and he's made a great living at telling our stories. I have an award here for Jan. Come on over. Thanks. The award reads, Jan W. Steenbeck, Technical Editor, Communications Department, for your passion and all you've done to help promote the airline piloting profession. Congratulations, Jan. And now it's Chris's turn. Chris, would you please join me on stage? Chris joined ALPA 20 years ago after a full career in the United States Air Force. It's kind of like the Navy's version of flight school, where he served as a pilot flying KC. It's not that funny, it's just, okay. Where he served as a pilot flying KC-135 aircraft, working airspace design issues and serving as a liaison to the FAA on airspace and air traffic issues. At ALPA, he's taken on some of our most difficult and resource-intensive projects, working accident and incident investigations, engineering, and aircraft certification issues, and all projects related to NextGen. The award for Chris Baum. Two, Chris Baum, Manager, Engineering and Air Safety, in recognition of and sincere appreciation for 20 years of dedicated and meritorious service to ALPA. Congratulations, Chris. So one more time, please join me in thanking and congratulating Chris, Jan, and Rick, and thanking all the ALPA staff for their remarkable work. And finally, I'd like to acknowledge those who have paved the way for our progress but are no longer with us. I particularly want to acknowledge our fellow IFALPA colleagues at Germanwings and all of those adversely affected by the tragedy of Flight 9525 in March of this year. Please join me in a moment of silence for our fellow ALPA members and others in our industry who have flown west. Thank you. Now let's get on with the second part of the show here. And really, this is the best part of the job. I can't say that enough. I never thought it would be this much fun, but it is. Would Delta MEC Chairman Captain Mike Donatelli please join me on stage to assist in tonight's Superior Airmanship Award presentation? So this goes without saying, but please give your undivided attention to Captain Donatelli as he describes the heroic actions of the crew for Delta Flight 1990.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's always tough to give the microphone up to an Air Force pilot. And when we say in the Air Force, strafe them. The Superior Airmanship 2015 Award. On December 23, 2014, Captain James Judkins and First Officer Michael Oates were scheduled to fly Delta Flight 1990, a Boeing 717 serviced from Atlanta to Savannah. More than 100 passengers were on board, excitedly anticipating Christmas in Savannah. Can't say I've ever been to Savannah for Christmas. But St. Patrick's Day, I've been there. For First Officer Oates, this was only his third day ever flying the Boeing 717. Third day, Terry. He was the pilot flying, receiving his new hire initial operating experience with line check airman Judkins performing pilot monitoring duties and providing instruction. The flight was dispatched with airplane's right electrical generator in op, Boeing. Thus, the pilot would leave the auxiliary power unit running for the duration of the flight to stand in for the inoperative right generator. While a somewhat unusual electrical configuration, this was part of the procedure for flying with one generator inoperative, and something that both pilots were trained to handle. Adding the complexity of the flight, Atlanta Hartsfield lay under a thick blanket of cloud and fog in December, which we all know so well, with low ceiling and forward visibility reduced to 1/2 mile. Takeoff was normal, but as the airplane climbed through 8,000 feet, the pilots noted a series of electrical problems, with multiple messages appearing on the engine alert display. First Officer Oates lost all of his electronic displays, the autopilot, and the auto throttles, disconnected. And the flight director on Captain Judkins' side cycled on and off, on and off, on and off. Think about this. Bad weather at the world's busiest airport, new hire training in progress, a series of electrical problems, Christmas. Captain Junkins calmly took the controls and asked First Officer Oates to open the quick reference handbook. So many fault and failure messages were appearing in the cockpit displays that it was unclear to either pilot what exactly was wrong with their jet. Captain Judkins directed First Officer Oates to begin with a checklist for the right generator failure, suspecting that the generator on the auxiliary power unit had failed. Seriously compounding their predicament, messages on the engine and alert display continued to pop up and disappear so fast that they could not determine what the warnings were trying to signal to them. Captain Judkins declared an emergency with Atlanta departure in order to ensure an expeditious and clear path back to the airport, and to be sure that the emergency vehicles would be ready when they landed. One of the flight attendants called from the cabin to report that the emergency lights had illuminated. Captain Judkins made a quick announcement to let the passengers know that the flight was returning to Atlanta. Noticing a display message that the emergency power was on, he felt an added sense of urgency to get the airplane back on the ground as quickly as possible. Captain Judkins asked for and received a precision radar monitor approach to runway 9 right in Atlanta. Captain Judkins hand flew the Category 2 approach, an approach demanding so much precision that with a fully functioning aircraft, it is always flown by the autopilot, even as the visibility on the runway dropped to a short 2,600 feet. If all of this was not enough because the airplane's auto trim was inoperative, Captain Judkins was forced to manually retrim the airplane to relieve flight control pressures on the yoke resulting from landing gear and wing flap extensions. Captain Judkins smoothly and precisely brought the aircraft in for a landing with First Officer Oates backing him up by running the checklist and providing assistance where needed. The safe outcome of this harrowing flight was due in no small measure to the excellent training Captain Judkins and First Officer Oates had received from Delta, their professionalism developed through many years of experience. I think some of them are Air Force pilots. And their remarkable ability to remain calmly focused when faced with an emergency situation, for which there is no cookbook solution. They never forgot to fly the airplane first, navigate second, and communicate third. By effectively accomplishing all of these tasks in an extremely demanding and time-compressed situation, they demonstrated an extraordinarily high level of airmanship that makes all of us proud to be part of the Airline Pilots Association International. Well done, gentlemen. Come on up here.
Have a seat. Thanks. I know, if I could stand up, I'm already on my feet. This is great. Each citation for the Superior Airmanship Award is personalized, but they both essentially say the same thing. I'll read the citation. For your professionalism and skillful action on December 23, 2014, on Delta Flight 1990, electrical problems and IMC conditions led to a loss of your instrument displays as well as the autopilot and auto throttles disconnecting. All of this occurred during First Officer IOE. Through Model CRM, the First Officer completed troubleshooting and checklists while the Captain manually flew a challenging Category 2 approach, returning all on board for a safe landing. Your demonstrated airmanship in this event exemplifies the best of our profession. I'm honored to present Captain James Judkins and First Officer Michael Oates with the ALPA's Superior Airmanship Award. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor, and thank you for your flying excellence and professionalism. So those close up who could hear Donatelli just said, and that's what I call him, by the way, and it's no disrespect intended, even though he's an Air Force Academy grad. He said, I hope you never get this award again. Thank you, sir. Go ahead. I'll hold your award for you.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. And Mike and I are both humbled and honored to win the award that nobody else seems to want to win. So now for some thank yous. First, I'd like to thank my son, Thomas, for driving up here from Atlanta to be with me tonight. And also one of my best friends, Doug Martin, who is my boss and the chief line check pilot for the 717 for making the trip up here. Thank you to Delta Airlines Chief Pilot Office for all their support, and thank you to Mike, FO Mike Oates, for sticking with me during a challenging time, all while on his third leg of IOE. Mike did everything he could possibly do to assist me in making this event as uneventful as possible. Thank you to ALPA for your support and hosting this event tonight. Everyone I've met here has been top-notch. A special thanks to Logan and Petra for all your outstanding work. Thank you to Dick Holloway and John Klinger for all your support. Thank you to Mike Donatelli and, of course, Tim for your timeless efforts on behalf of all ALPA members. And last but certainly not least, thank you to the outstanding training department we have on the 717 at Delta. Even today, we're a young program. We've only been around about 2 years, but training has been second to none since day one. Everything Mike and I saw on that day had been trained at some point or another. Unfortunately, all those events weren't supposed to happen at the same time. Mike and I are both a couple of C-130 Air Force guys, and we don't really have any cool mottos on the Herc, so I'm going to borrow one from a fighter guy. It's train like you fight and fight like you train. And all this comes back to our training. Things you think you'll never use, they have a way of presenting themselves again. But the knowledge is always in there, ready to be called upon when needed. We had complete confidence in a successful outcome that day. We took a deep breath, expanded our team, and relied on our quality training to get us back on the ground safely. So thank you so much again for this honor, and everybody enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chad. Thanks, Chad. Appreciate it. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Chad. Mike. I'll call you anytime. Before we delve into the Safety and Security Awards, I'd like to also acknowledge this year's Pilot Assistance Award recipient. ALPA's Pilot Assistance Group holds their standalone forum in odd number years. In April, over 170 pilots and partners from industry and government met to discuss hot topics such as pilot fitness. ALPA's pilot assistance work is a critical component of ensuring that the overall safety of the system, and the 2014 ALPA Annual Pilot Assistance Award went to First Officer Tom Thornton of Delta Airlines for his work in leading the team that transformed the Professional Standards Committee at Northwest and Delta Airlines. Tom's not able to be with us here tonight, but please join me in applauding his achievement. Would ALPA's Aviation Safety Chair, Captain Fred Eisler, please join me on the stage to assist in tonight's Aviation Security Award presentation. Now it is my privilege to present the 2014 ALPA Aviation Security Award. Tonight, I'm honored to give this prestigious award to Alaska Captain Darren Dorn. Captain Dorn has been chairman of the Alaska MEC Security Committee and a member of ALPA's National Security Council since 2009. Within the association's security structure, he serves as a subject matter expert in the areas of individual crew member safety and the Federal Flight Deck Officer Program. Captain Dorn's accomplishments include introducing the individual crew member security concept to ALPA, for which he led the creation of the Specialized Training Program. He was instrumental in working with the association to develop the film Street Smarts video series to enhance situational awareness and improve crew member security. 3 videos have been produced so far, and more are being developed. Captain Dorn also worked to update the 1 level of security course for all ALPA security volunteers and helped develop the ALPA Hotel Security course for training all new security and hotel volunteers. He remains actively engaged with our partners at the Department of Homeland Security and the Transportation Security Administration, And thanks to his contributions, we've made positive changes and established new standard operating procedures within the FFDO program. Captain Dorn has made solid recommendations to improve these programs, drawing from his experience both as a pilot and ranger in the U.S. Army, where he served 21 years. Captain Dorn has also been an active member of the ALPA Laser Awareness Campaign, acting as our contact for Los Angeles International Airport. A truly accomplished professional, he holds 3 educational degrees, including a master's from Emory-Riddle in aeronautical science. Would you please join me on stage, Captain Dorn? The award reads, 2014 Aviation Security Award to Captain Darren Dorn, Alaska Airlines, for your significant contributions to aviation security while representing the interest of airline pilots worldwide, with special recognition for the leadership of the Crew Member Safety Series. It gives me great pleasure to award you with the ALPA Aviation Safety Award.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Captain Knoll, thank you. What a night for me. What a night for ALPA overall. Like all of us up here, I got some special thanks. The first one's to my Lord for all the blessings he's given me. I've got my wife with me tonight. She never comes to these events. I can never talk her into it. But it's our 25th year. She's put up with me for my last 10 years in the Army and the last 15 with Alaska Airlines. So a special round of applause to all our spouses for all they put up with. I'd also like to thank Alaska Airlines. We've got our VP of Flight Ops, Tom Kemp, here, and my company and my MEC have been incredible in supporting my work at the company and as well as national. And without them, it couldn't be done. So I thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Also like to look at Captain Fred Eisler and the team he's put together, all the volunteers and ASO, incredible. Everybody on the security committee, every single one of these guys deserves to be up here. I've done nothing different. We all have a passion for what we do. We find that niche and we go after it, and thank you all for your time and your effort and your energy. While I've got my 5 minutes of fame here, I want to outline one thing, and that is there's a difference between safety and security, and a lot of people use that term interchangeably. I want to read you a definition. Safety and safety measures are created to protect people and property from injury or loss by circumstance, accident, or negligence. That's our safety program. Security and security measures are created to protect people and property from injury or loss by deliberate action. The difference? Unintentional and deliberate action. Now that we understand the difference, I think we need to look around and go, there's individuals, organizations, and even countries that want to do harm to you, to harm to your family, harm to our airlines, and harm to America. Sad fact is there's evil in the world, and we're never going to outlaw it. And bad things happen to good people every single day. We need to look no further than Chattanooga, Tennessee, or even a little bit farther back down to Charleston, South Carolina, and see the kind of things that can happen around the world, and they're happening every day. In my 5 minutes, I hope I can convince each and every one of you here tonight to sit down with your family members, and sit down with your friends and your coworkers and the people you love. Talk about situational awareness, talk about that what-if situation, so if something does happen, you know what you're going to do. Because when the event happens, there's no time to think about it. That's why we do the simulator, right? That's why we do everything we do. That's why our Delta crew acted the way they did. So talk about it with your family. Sit down. If you don't know anything about situational awareness, we got a great video series called Street Smart. Okay? And you can sit down there, and there's a 5-minute. We try to keep them 5 to 7 minutes. But it'll look easy for you to sit down with your spouse, your family members, your loved one, and understand what situational awareness is. As aviators, if you're not an FFDO, I've got to ask you, why are you not our last line of defense? It's It's a great program. We've got great leadership now, massive changes. They never thought we'd hit the number we're qualifying this year. But if you're an aviator out there and you're not an FFDO, I'm going to ask you why, because you need to look at that program. You owe it to yourself, your family, your airline, and our country, because the threat's not going away. So, as I've heard from our Air Force and our Navy counterparts, I have to say, go Army, and God bless America.
Thanks, Darren. Well said and well-deserved honor. Thank you for everything you do to keep our airports, our skies, and our cockpits safe. Thank you. It looks like I might have started something with my earlier comments. I was not trying to be disrespectful to the other services. I wasn't, honest. Never again. Lesson learned. Would ALPA's Aviation Safety Chair, Captain Chuck Hogeman, please join me on stage to assist with tonight's Air Safety Award presentation. This evening, I have the privilege of recognizing First Officer Helena Rademeyer for her extraordinary contributions to the safety of air transportation. I really should call her Dr. Rademeyer, because because in addition to her master's from Emory-Riddle in aeronautical science, she earned a PhD in human factors and now serves on the graduate faculty of the University of Central Missouri. First Officer Rademeyer serves as ALPA's Director of Human Factors within the Air Safety Organization. Her efforts have resulted in her establishing an international following. No, I'm not kidding, an international following. In 2014, she was named a Fellow by the London-headquartered Royal Aeronautics Society for her extensive work within the aviation human factors community. She's been asked to speak to groups around the world, including the Caribbean South American Pilots Association. First Officer Rademeyer works appear in publications like Aero Safety World, and she maintains close ties with human factors experts at NASA Ames. While First Officer Rademeyer has performed a variety of functions within ALPA's safety structure over the years, she particularly distinguished herself in 2014 by co-chairing the groundbreaking effort to enhance flight path monitoring throughout our industry. Her contributions culminated in a Flight Safety Foundation-sponsored product entitled A Practical Guide for Improving Flight Path Monitoring, now the benchmark for airlines seeking to improve pilot monitoring skills among their pilots. Helena is also the first female airline pilot to receive the association's highest safety honor. Helena, will you please join me on stage? A professional, a true ALPA leader, it gives me great pleasure to present this award to Dr. Helena Rademeyer. The award reads, 2014 Air Safety Award to First Officer Helena M. Rademeyer, Delta Airlines, for your significant contributions to aviation safety and dedication to the discipline of human factors in creating the training standard for airline pilots worldwide, in special recognition of our groundbreaking work in a practical guide for improving flight path monitoring. Congratulations. Thanks, Chuck.
Wow, what a day. And they gave me this great scarf instead of a tie. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm deeply honored and grateful. And I feel like I'm really receiving this on behalf of so many people because I've done nothing alone. It's always been teamwork and collaboration. And it's really important to recognize my leadership for all of the amazing support, the ALPA staff, and all of the committee members that I have the privilege of working with. And of course, the center of my world, my family. So just over 16 years ago, I was flying a DC-9 trip with Dennis Landry, and we started talking about safety invariably, and it came out that I had a human factors background. So we landed in Minneapolis, and he immediately brought me over to the MAC and introduced me to Lindsay Fennick, and I've never looked back. It started out slow, of course, 16 years ago, but it picked up momentum over the years. So that year, I lost my best friend, Stephanie, in a plane crash. And finding ALPA safety work at that time in my life was so incredibly meaningful. And I would guess that many, if not most of you, have lost someone in a plane crash, so you know how this work is really helpful. So my story really wouldn't be complete without talking a little bit more about Stephanie. And though I rarely talk about it, that accident is really part of the fabric of who I am and the safety work that I do. We were flight instructors at the same flight school, and we were best friends and roommates. And words can't really describe the loss and the grief of losing someone like that in an instant. But through the safety work, it allowed me to use my special skill set to contribute to safer flying in some small way. 5 years later, unfortunately, the very friend Jesse, who helped me through that loss and that grief, died in a plane crash. And every day I strive to use that grief as a driver in my work and to use it for a positive force. I've been so fortunate to follow in the footsteps of people who inspire me, from Lindsay Fennick to my friend and mentor, Robert Sumwalt. These gentlemen have shaped the way I think about safety with their heart and soul and the integrity it gave me something to work for. I also have to thank my family, who support me in the crazy hours of flying and conferences and working groups and committees and teleconferences. Matt, my sweetheart over there, he flew to Abu Dhabi to see me speak last year, and he actually bought a ticket, so you know he's not a pilot, because the flights were full. He sat and coached 17 hours each way. That's true love and unconditional support. I've been doing ALPA safety work longer than my daughter's been alive, and I assure you she probably knows more about human factors and safety work than most people outside of this room, because of Bluetooth in the car over the speaker. She's absorbed an amazing amount of information. She knows many of you simply through voice recognition, first and last names. And Frank Cheeseman, wherever you are, she loves your name. So this work takes time away from your home and family, much like our full-time jobs. But I want to talk about the bright side of that real quick. So we try to lead by example, and we raise our kids much the same way. And most of us do safety work for the passion. And I want to give my daughter that understanding and that knowledge and that courage to follow her passion. The other part is service. If you have the ability to contribute, I think it's really important to do that and show by example and give back and pay it forward. And through this work, we all teach our children these important life lessons every day. And we can also inspire our peers to contribute. I'm frequently inspired by the gentlemen I work for, like Scott Hammond, who is a moral and ethical compass in safety, and Chuck Hogeman, who is a brilliant safety advocate for us throughout the industry. Our safety structure is made up of amazing people who I'm so proud to work with. Dan Coogan, who must have no free time given the amount of work he does, and he never says no. I ask him for any help, and he always says yes. Susan and Kelly Schmidt, their dedication and generosity. Steve Jangelis, whose contributions I see every time I fly. I could stand here all night talking about the phenomenal work of ALPA safety volunteers, but they only gave me 5 minutes. Suffice it to say, we're making a difference. And more than just giving back, I think the work we do is really meaningful and essential to the industry. We're not doctors touching one body at a time. Our work touches thousands of people every day. So we work to make our industry better, safer, we save lives. And yes, we're a union, so we're pilot advocates. But in safety, we do more than that. We're safety advocates, and that transcends everything else. So we learn from the accidents we investigate, and the accidents result in changes that makes flying safer. They do not die in vain, and we learn and make the system safer and better through the work we do. Our work can't be quantified in the number of lives saved or the accidents prevented, but if you look at accident statistics, you can conclude that we're making a difference. Safety is winning, and you're all heroes. Thank you humbly for this incredible recognition. I'd like to ask my daughter to come up here. Ariel?
So congratulations to all our honorees tonight. We do have one set of photographs to take tonight, so if you've been up on stage tonight, please don't leave. Please come here. So I'll ask all the honorees to come back up after we take the break. And for the rest of you, the evening's not over. We want you to enjoy yourself. We have a post-banquet reception right outside the doors in the Columbia foyer. This concludes the Air Safety Forum banquet. Please enjoy and please be safe the rest of the evening. Thank you.